Good morning, Disney fans. And today we are celebrating the 20th anniversary, one of my personal favorites, Walt Disney Animation Studios' iconic film, since the one I first saw this in theaters back when I was young in 2005. Chicken Little. It came out in theaters on November 4, 2005. And I remember saw this in theaters a long time ago. When Chicken Little was was the son of Buck Cluck, and when he tried to warn everyone on Foky Oaks that the sky was falling, but it's simply not true because they believe it was an acorn thing that hit him dozens of times, and his father was embarrassed. And later that time, Chicken Little tries to blend in to forget the sky is falling incident thing that ever happened. But he missed the school bus and chased it through down from town, and then he lost his pants and used the soda bottle to shake to hit it inside the school, but and make a pants out of his home papers of his homework, and then he finally succeeded, but ended up getting locked himself by his own locker as class started. Miss Abby, Runt, and Fish believe that Chicken Little was absent until he made it through until gym class, and then he gets picked on by Foxy Loxy and Goosey Lucy, and he ended up pulling the fire alarm, causing the students to panic, and Chicken Little lost his pants again, and he was ashamed. But this did not stop him, that he needs a chance to become a, a baseball player for the big baseball game. Hopefully to make his father proud, to forget the sky falling thing that ever happened again. And just then he stayed focused and won the big game. And the Foky Oaks civilians cheered for him, and including his dad. He was really good at this baseball game event. And later that night, the piece of the sky hits him again, which leads his life changes forever when he immediately informed Runt, Abby, and Fish about this thing has happened, until Fish gets taken and they followed him, and and the and the green lights go around in circles and revealing a spaceship headed straight to the baseball field. They entered enter the spaceship to rescue Fish and Fast, and they did, and and gets and they've been spotted by the alien robots. They must have think that the alien kid was kidnapped by them, which is simply not true. And they managed to get away from the alien robots, headed to the school and ring the school bell to warn everyone. But just then, once he did, from Abby's plan, and and the alien robots quickly escaped before Chicken Little had the proof. But just then, Chicken Little believes no one believes him once again. The next day, Chicken Little saw an alien kid named Kirby, who was alone, who was left behind from his family. But then the the alien fleet arrived at Foky Oaks, and the civilians of Foky Oaks believes that there is an alien invasion right now, just as Chicken Little had reported, and the civilians are now in panic and screaming and running for their lives. Buck Cluck found Chicken Little, and he believes that he was right all along. But Chicken Little immediately hesitated and explained it to him so quickly that there is a rescue mission, and he also told him he never dare for him because he was there. He won the big game, and not the sky falling thing, not in the baseball field, and certainly not now. And he'd been ashamed of himself for the acorn thing happened. and the other kinds of stuff like that, including closure. But this time, Buck Cluck finally realized that Chicken Little was right, since he never believed him, and he apologized and he loves him that he has to earn. And then they embraced some heartwarming father and son moment, and they agreed to help, and he agreed to help Chicken Little to get Kirby back to his parents and fast. But first, must go to the Foky Oak City Hall at the Mother spaceship, and Buck Cluck always believes him. And Chicken Little and headed top to the at this at the City Hall, and managed to return Kirby back to his parents. And then Kirby and Buck Cluck got sent inside to the spaceship. There's an alien father named Melvin scolded Chicken Little for kidnapping his son, but Buck Cluck immediately defended him that he did not take his son, that he's the one who left him behind. But he ordered him to release the child, and so they did. And Kirby returned to his mother. And then she and Kirby immediately informed Melvin this was all just a misunderstanding, that he's the one who escaped, left, and followed him yesterday. Melvin believes this was awkward, so he agrees to let Chicken Little and Buck Cluck to be released. And he apologized to the folks of the Foky Oaks for this whole invasion thing about what happened. And now everything went back to normal. So Melvin, Kirby, and their family returns to the spaceship and leaves Foky Oaks. But Buck Cluck could felt even more prouder. Chicken Little did save Foky Oaks, and he was really a hero. And he watched the movie, and the Foky Oaks civilians cheered for Chicken Little, that he really was the true hero. And now, Chicken Little was no longer an outcast. And that's how the movie ends. And also, this movie was dedicated to a loving memory to the Disney legend animator Joe Grant, who passed away back in May 2005 before the movie was released. And later in 2023, Chicken Little returns for Once Upon a Studio, along with some other same Disney characters for Walt Disney Animation Studios' 100th anniversary for the Ultimate Group photo. And later he returns again as one of the cameos during the credits on Disney's Wish. So yeah, I saw Wish in theaters back in November when I was 24. And I enjoyed watching Wish, I love the movie because it's celebrating the 100 years of Disney. Especially Once Upon a Studio on Disney+. So let me know in the comments, and this is Minion Fan 1024 signing off.